Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the Soviets KV-2 ZIS-6, armed with an astonishing 107mm gun, which is very unique and unique for this tank only. It's a Russian premium tank, a Russian premium heavy tank to be precise, at a battle rating of 5.3 at rank 3 if I'm not mistaken. And the question is the gun too expensive for this tank? And what I mean is the trade-offs that you make. It's a big gun with good amounts of penetration. We are talking here nearly 200mm of penetration with the APHE BC shell type that will come later on. And yeah, you are still having a KV-1 hull with a very modified KV-2 turret. And at this battle rating, everything is going to penetrate you. Maybe the hull if you angle a lot, but even then it depends which enemy is shooting you and where. Now, below the gun mantle, there is actually a very distinct flat 75mm armor plate that is very easy to penetrate, and you do a lot of damage to the tank with even little APHE shells from the Panther or even the Panzer IV. So we are here on the map Port Novorossiysk, and I actually want to use one new position that has been introduced a few patches ago that brings a lot of good changes to this map, and it's the gap right here. Previously, like half a year ago I guess, this gap wasn't there, and that Gaijin just remodeled the map by adding here a few gaps in between the houses. Is really a game changer, quite literally. And so quick tanks can diffuse through that, or defund through it, whatever you want to call it, and actually make the life for the enemy team a bit more exciting, let's put it that way. So, and of course, because I'm a good Russian heavy tank, I charge right through the middle, so to speak. And the KV-2 ZIS-6, to be honest, it's from time to time a fun tank. It has this lolpen one-shot gun, but it pays a lot for it. We just have 5 degrees of gun depression and just 5 degrees of gun elevation. And you just have around about 6 degrees of turret rotation speed. Combine this with the poor mobility of the tank, limited top speed to 34 kilometers an hour, bad reverse gear, no neutral steering, bad horsepower to ton ratio, and so forth. And this is literally a heavy tank, and you can see that you really have to work hard to get the gun on target. After you have achieved this and you are still alive, it does this to the enemy. But we have to use here the hull, to turn the hull to get the shot where we want it, and the APHE shell with 400mm of penetration does the rest. Now I guess against this target where I shot him, even a Panzer IV could have done this. And this is the question: could I have done the very same things that I did in this battle also with a T-34-85? The answer is yes. However, with this tank, it adds a bit more feeling to it, and you not just have to fight the enemy team, as I just said, but also fight the tank to position it in such a place that you can shoot the enemy before he notices. And this Hellcat stopped for a moment, and I hit the gun mantle where there is enough armor so that the fuse sensitivity of 15mm kicks in and lets detonate the shell. And there is an enemy tank, and he has not seen me, and he turns the rear. No, let's wait up until he turns to the side. And this T-20 also got deleted with an MRAG and a crew knockout, both at the same time, just to add a bit of insult to injury. So you can see this tank one-shots the majority of tanks it shoots, unless you hit, of course, the engine portion of a tank. But even then, it splashes right through the armor section between the engine compartment and also the crew compartment. That's at least my experience with it. And we're talking here about an APHE BC shell. And this is a shell type that, with the exception as far as I can tell, to other premium or reward tanks in other nations, which are based on Soviet tanks captured, or in the case of the American LTV reward vehicle, you know, they are all Russian vehicles, with the exception of the Begleitpanzer 57. And so, of course, because I'm the best tanker in the world, now I don't kill this tank. And yeah, I overturned the shot. I could have taken my time right here, but I wasted the shell, so to speak. But against this American low-tier tank, I can angle myself. The bomb blast did nothing but track me. And yeah, I can take his shots. And you can see how long the reload is. And again, you know, for my 6th kill, this was nothing special, and I also could have potentially survived this engagement in the T-34-85 and potentially have reloaded and killed this tank faster. And yeah, you are paying a lot for having this gun. And the question is, of course, is this tank worth it? The answer is, if you want to have a party tank and you get a down tier and you have the right map for it, you don't get flanked and so forth, then sure, this tank can be fun. It's always nice to have a big gun that one-shots everything that you shoot at and so forth. But for effective grinding, there are better choices in my opinion. Your opinion may differ, let me know in the comment section. So here, I cannot just rush around the corner. I need to wait. What is the enemy team doing? Is somebody coming around this corner, which is a very good ambush spot because nobody expects you there. Yeah, no, I was, you know, playing with the thought of shooting down a plane. That would have been awesome, but the turret rotation speed, the poor gun elevation of just 12 degrees, it doesn't support it. And so I have to wait up until the turret turns. And wait some more. And while we wait, while the turret turns, let's talk about APHEBC. Now, there are a lot of shell types that I just classify, you know, as APHE. The German shells, which have a high explosive filler, the Soviets, all of them, the American, all nations, of course, with the exception of a lot of the French and a lot of the British tanks don't have APHE. But this is APHE BC. A lot of the other APHE shells are classified as APHE, as official designation, APCBC, armor piercing capped, ballistic capped, and also APHE BC, armor piercing, high explosive, ballistic capped. However, in the past I did a lot of testing, and some miracle shots are explained by the designation APHE BC. And let's talk about why this is so important. Well, this explains Russian bias. No, stay with me, okay? When people say that there is Russian bias in the game, sometimes the argumentation comes from, again, I'm suffering here from the reload problems, that they get penetrated at weird angles by shells that shouldn't penetrate them, because other nations' tanks with that kind of base penetration don't have the penetration power at that angle, and it should ricochet and so forth. So first of all, Russian tanks on average have high caliber, especially the Russian 122mm at lower tiers, also the 85mm gun that comes early on, which features also APHE BC shells. It explains a lot, believe me. And a lot of the APHE BC shells feature just minor improvements in terms of base pen, or are even a downgrade in the shape of the T-34-85's shell selection, and they don't seem to offer any benefit except maybe a bit of more high explosive containment, or if you look closely at the stat card, a bit more penetration at 30 degrees angle of attack. And that really matters. And I'm not quite sure how much we can trust here the stat card, because, for example, Object 268 can penetrate the upper frontal plate of a Tiger II despite having less penetration than a long 88, which never, under no circumstances, even at point blank range, can penetrate the upper frontal plate of a Tiger 2 or even a Jagdtiger. The upper casement you can penetrate with APCR, but I digress. This explains a lot. Do it yourself, do it with some of your colleagues or friends or clan mates, test this a little bit. This is really the explanation because, again, aside from the Begleitpanzer 57 and some captured or reward tanks that are based on Soviet tanks or Soviet gun systems rather, no tank in any other nation has APCB or APHE-BC. So here I got shot in the rear in the transmission by a tank with also a very slow turret rotation speed, and now the second shot follows and it goes into the side of the turret but just kills 3 out of the 4 persons inside, and it is an M10. Again, very slow turret rotation speed, and he bounces the third shot, and I'm just reversing here on the slope. I am carefully, and I delete him with 1 shot. And that was really nice, and that was my 10th kill. Double ace, a rocket goes into the ground right next to me, and I'm, well, stationary. But I captured the point, I secured a ticket bleed of the enemy team, I secured that the lead of my team still increases, and now I received 2 shots from the side, one of which was a rocket from a Hurricane Mark IIB drop, which ended my game abruptly. And, you know, this guy might feel, hey, I've done work, you know, but it's too late. The tickets are bleeding down, nobody of their tanks is close enough, and oh, look who's there. That looks like a Hurricane with rockets. Well, to be honest, it looked like one. For my 11th kill, but granted now it's the Type 65, which is incidentally a reward vehicle, which is also pretty nice. So, yeah, that was the KV-2 ZIS-6 in realistic battle featuring a double ace, but believe me, that was a highly exceptional battle because usually you get outflanked, you get outshot, outtraded, outgunned, everything, and just for having this big gun, it doesn't pay off in reality. But if you have a nice battle like this with 100,692 silver lines income and over 8,000 research points, a lot of medals and achievements, being first in team with 3,106 score points, you might say this tank is awesome. It is in the right circumstances, but those circumstances are rare. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this battle. I did it. I wanted to show you this tank, and normal service will resume soon. That's it for me today, so thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the battlefields and in the skies of War Thunder.